WOCA. Ocala. All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Beautiful Friday morning. I hope you're doing well. I hope your day is as beautiful as it looks out there. Amy Newmark is on the phone, and she is the publisher and the editor-in-chief for the Chicken Soup for the Soul. And that's a very, very popular series of books. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. And we've spoken to so many different authors who've contributed to that series. And it is just a wonderful, you know what, it's almost like maybe the Reader's Digest of our generation. I don't know. Not that it's the same idea as Reader's Digest, but I mean, it is I don't know, it touches you in such a way.
Yeah.
And each topic, the topic of this particular book is living with Alzheimer's and other dementias, stories of caregiving, coping, and compassion. Amy Newmark is on the phone to talk to us about this very important topic. And interesting because yesterday we had a psychiatrist in here. Was it yesterday or Wednesday?
It was yesterday.
Dr. John Grace.
Yesterday he was here.
And he's got a dementia...
Memory Enhancement Center.
A memory enhancement center that he's building over in Citrus County. So it kind of works hand in hand with that discussion. Amy Newmark. Good morning, Amy.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Where are you?
I am in Coscob, Connecticut, near New York City.
All right. I love that area, by the way. What did you do with this book? Did you put it together? Did you write one of the stories in here, or all the stories? What is the book?
Well, I put it together basically the way we put together all our books. What happens is I think about a topic that I think we should be addressing, where there's a real need for a book on the subject, and then what I do is I put out an email to about 5,000 writers who are on our email list. They pass it on to everybody they know, so the email goes viral. So probably tens of thousands of people see it. We also post on our website all the books that we're working on, and then people submit stories through our website. And like all our books, we got thousands of submissions of stories and poems for this book. Then what I did was I made a partnership with the Alzheimer's Association. So this makes this book really special and different from other Chicken Soup for the Soul books because we worked hand in hand with a wonderful nonprofit. The Alzheimer's Association is like the go-to place for Alzheimer's and other dementias. They're perfectly happy to help people who are diagnosed with all of the different types of dementia because sometimes you don't even know which one your loved one has. And we had them work with us. So we had an editor from the Alzheimer's Association and then one of our editors whose mother died from Alzheimer's. And together they read the thousands of stories that were submitted, narrowed the list down. Then I edited all of the finalists, and we have the 101, the cream of the crop, in this book. And the royalties are going to the Alzheimer's Association.
Oh, that's wonderful. So then when we talk about Alzheimer's, we're talking about, and I know I'm not telling you anything, but I've got a reason for saying this and then having a question. We're talking about a fatal disease. It might not happen overnight, but eventually Alzheimer's can take the life. And most people who have a loved one that has Alzheimer's know this. And yet it sounds like from the description that I was reading about the book, you've got some funny stories in there, people who are caregivers and heartwarming and funny stories, correct?
We do, because Alzheimer's or any of these dementias cause a very long journey. It's a fatal disease. At this point, there is no cure for anyone. There has never been a single person who has gone into remission from Alzheimer's, right? And it can take 5, 10, 15, or even more years. So it's an extremely long journey for a fatal illness. And you've got to let some comedy come into your life when you're doing that kind of thing. I mean, everyone says there's a fine line between comedy and tragedy. And so we do have some funny stories in here because people who are caregivers tell us that they learn to laugh. They have to. And the patients, too, early on will learn to laugh. So we do have funny stories. We have one woman who hated cats and would be absolutely horrified if a cat even walked into a room that she was in. And then as her Alzheimer's progressed, she became a lot more tolerant, and so she was at somebody's house, and this big cat walked in, and she started petting the cat and saying, what a lovely dog. And
Oh, no.
We have another story where a woman, a caregiver, the wife of a patient, was in her support group, and she was very hesitant to bring up the subject, and then she finally brought up the subject to the group, and she said, "My husband doesn't remember when we've been intimate." And so 3 hours later, he's asking again. and the whole group was just stunned. And then all of a sudden, one person started laughing, and then they all burst into laughter. And then she burst into laughter. And, it was comic relief for a real problem that she was having. But you've got to sometimes let yourself laugh.
So, I worked at an assisted living facility for 3 years, and there was a memory support unit there. And one of the ladies who had dementia or Alzheimer's, I don't really know which is which, but anyway, she was forgetful, very forgetful. And her husband did not have the disease, and he lived there also. So she wasn't in the area that would be considered the locked up area. And she would come to me and she would say, "What time is lunch?" And I would say 12:30. And she'd say, "Where is it?" I was just right down the hall, right here. And she'd say, "What time is it?" "It's 12:30. And where do I have to go?" "Right down the hall." And it would literally go on and on and on like that until I finally, because she could play piano. It was an amazing thing. I know you remember her, Robin.
Yeah.
And she could sit at the piano and play like she had all of her memory back. So I would always distract her and say, "How does that song go that you used to play on the piano?" And she would go, "Which one?" All of a sudden, I've changed her mind about something. And I said, "You know what? I can't remember. It went something like this. Da, 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 da. I just make up some silly melody." And she said, oh, let me show you. And she'd sit at the piano and play for the next half hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wasn't the caregiver, but I was one of many in that facility. So.
Well, music is something we write about a lot in the book because it does seem like it gets through the fog for many, many people. There's a great story in the book, I think it's story 73, where it was a professional at a facility, just like you were. She was one of the people who worked there, and she said there was this wonderful gentleman, erect posture, very handsome, impeccably dressed every day. You would have thought he was visiting one of the residents. Because, of course, Alzheimer's is invisible. You look absolutely perfect. You can't tell that the person has this terrible disease.
Right.
And he was completely unresponsive. He sat in a wheelchair. He would obey when he was told to do something, but he never responded, never changed his facial expression. And then after he had been in the facility for a long time, one day they were playing 1940s music and people were dancing, and he turned to his aide and said, "Would you care to dance?" Got up, danced with her, chatted with her the whole time they were dancing.
Wow.
As they were dancing, leaned over and chatted with all of the other healthcare workers who were sitting in a circle around the dance floor, apologized to all of them for not having responded to them, said that they were all doing a great job taking care of him.
That's crazy.
And then when the music stopped, it was like a switch went.
That is amazing.
And he went back to being unresponsive. So then after that, every time they wanted to talk to him, they would play music from the 1940s, and he would perk up and he would talk to them. And that worked for the next 8 months. And then during his final month before he passed away, it didn't work, but it had worked almost
Isn't that
amazing?
That is really fascinating. It is. That's almost like groundbreaking. Now, was he able to have normal conversations with his family when the music was on?
When the music was on, he could talk to people. I mean, the brain is the least understood part of the whole human body. And somehow somehow the neural pathways worked if the music were playing. And we saw stories in the book about music doing this, art doing this. Someone who had never painted before all of a sudden is painting away and telling stories through painting. We had other people who responded when a therapy dog or a therapy cat came in.
I bet they did.
A woman who would be given a baby doll, and all of a sudden she was talking about raising her children, and she was taking care of this doll all day.
Isn't that amazing? Amy, can I tell you another story? You just reminded me of one. There was a lady who I watched decline in health. She was not in memory support, and she had been a very accomplished nurse in her career. In fact, I think she was a professor at one point. She had all kinds of accolades on her wall in her apartment, and then she started to decline. And I guess months later, because I worked in the non-memory support section, so I didn't always go back there. Well, I went back near there one time, and I heard a lady screaming, and it was this lady. She was in a wheelchair, and she had her right arm straight up in the air, like she was asking for permission to use the restroom, and she was just screaming at the top of her lungs, like one note, just holding it as much as she could, and then taking a breath and repeating it. And her name was Ruth, and hopefully that doesn't offend anybody. That was her first name.
Yeah.
And I said, Ruth, what's the matter? And then the aides said, Larry, there's nothing you can do. This is what she's going to do all day long. This is what she's become. And now, just so you know, Amy, Ruth, as much as she was an upstanding citizen, she loved telling dirty jokes. So
Gotta be human.
So listen to this. So it occurred to me that she used to love telling me dirty jokes. So I thought maybe I'll tell her one, because I had one that I had heard recently. I won't tell you what it was. But anyway, so I got close to her, real close to her. I put my face like near her ear, and I said, Ruth, I got a dirty joke. I heard. Let me tell you the dirty joke. Let me tell you something. She lowered her arm, Amy. She stopped screaming. She waited till I told the whole joke, laughed out loud. The aides couldn't believe that she stopped screaming, and I thought, "Wow, I just cured her." I thought I thought I had the Jesus touch. Of course, I don't. I'm not pretending anything. But the sad part is she went back into that behavior shortly afterwards. But it was just an amazing thing to witness. It sounds like the music story you just told of the man.
Yeah, nobody understands. And the other thing that no one understands is, have you ever heard someone tell you that their mother or father was dying and had been completely out of it for months and didn't know the names of the children or anything, and then all of a sudden that last day they know everybody and they're talking to everybody, and then you think, well, how could that be if the brain just wasn't working? Then how come it worked the last day? And we have a lot of stories about that in the book, and I think it's really important because it reminds us your loved one is still in there. You must treat your loved one with respect.
Absolutely.
Every single day of this journey, because they are still in there. And God forbid you don't visit them often enough. You just assume they don't know anything. And then the last day they're like, hey, Larry, where were you?
I would feel so bad.
You got to honor who they used to be by honoring who they are now as well. Another great point we made in the book, and you probably experienced this working in the facility, but we have a lot of people who made a really good point, which made a big impression on me, which is, do not try to correct somebody who has Alzheimer's. Go into their world with them, accept their reality. Don't try to bring them back to your reality. And so we have wonderful stories about, like, we had a woman who thought that she was a retired Air Force fighter pilot, and she had saved all these children. And her two daughters ended up giving her a Medal of Honor and her certificate in a big ceremony because she was absolutely sure that she had been this, fighter jet pilot.
So she held on to that for a long time? I mean, it wasn't just a
long time.
Wow.
No, she held on to it for months. And so they just went with it. They went with it. I'm sure you saw things like that when you worked there.
I mean, you're going to think I'm wacky, and Amy, trust me, I am. But, but you have to wonder, why would that happen? Was she remembering a past life or something? Who knows, right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't understand. I really don't understand a lot of this stuff. Like, why do these scams work on older people who don't even have dementia?
Yes.
You have won the lottery email, those kinds of things. I don't understand what happens to make things like that work, why older people are so vulnerable to those things.
I think people just I think when you get to a certain age, you just want to be remembered or spoken to by somebody, because sometimes when adult children and adult grandchildren grow up, they don't see the older adults in their life anymore, not even making a phone call. So when somebody pays attention to them, they want to be friendly and chat and just trust these people.
You're probably right. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Nebraska, but I just saw the movie the other night. And, of course, I'm deeply into the world of Alzheimer's and dementia right now because of this book. And Nebraska was about a son whose father, who definitely had some kind of dementia, was sure that he had won something because he misread a sweepstakes email about, the possibility of winning $1 million. And his son ended up having to drive him from Montana to Nebraska to discover that he really hadn't won a prize.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know that this book, which only came out on Tuesday, was a bestseller by Wednesday.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Amazon ran out, and I'm very frustrated because Amazon, we're rushing new books to them, but they're still out, although just for your listeners, Amazon says on their website it will take 3 to 4 weeks to get copies. No, they're coming tomorrow to Amazon.
Oh, okay.
You can order. You'll get them early next week. They're going to be delivered there tomorrow. And Barnes & Noble still has copies, but we have a huge national bestseller on our hands. We're completely shocked.
That's cool.
We didn't order enough copies. Go to a second printing immediately.
I
guess we didn't realize how passionate people would be about this subject.
Amy, let me just reintroduce you, and I have a question. Amy Newmark is our guest. She's the publisher and editor-in-chief for Chicken Soup for the Soul, the book we're promoting today, talking about today, generating a wonderful conversation, by the way. Is called Chicken Soup for the Soul, Living with Alzheimer's and Other Dementias, Stories of Caregiving, Coping, and Compassion. If you've been listening, you've heard some samples of some of those stories. My question for you, Amy, is the book too new to get some feedback from some of the readers? And what do you think, if you had the feedback or not, what do you think the reader gets out of this? Because obviously you're reading stories about other people's loved ones, and we're somehow applying them to ourselves, I'm guessing. But what are they getting out of this?
Okay, so reading this, the Chicken Soup for the Soul format is perfect anyway for this because you read stories by 101 different people. And so you're getting this very unselfish sharing from all these different people who have been there, done that, and are now going to share their best advice, their tips, their best practices, their emotional support with you. And I do have feedback already, even though the book has only been on sale since Tuesday, because I gave out advance copies at an Alzheimer's conference that I attended a month ago, and then I've been giving it to people I know whose parents have Alzheimer's. So I have been getting feedback, and I guess the first thing I hear is, now I know I'm not alone. Even though there are all these support groups for caregivers and so many people are affected, people still feel alone. And people are telling me that they picked up the book, they were going to read a couple of stories, because, with 101 separate stories, it's like potato chips. You could stop after one or two. But like potato chips,
you won't. Yeah, right,
and then they
right.
tell me they're reading it till 3 a.m, and they're telling me that they're crying, they're laughing, but they're loving it. They're turning pages over. They're highlighting sections. They're going back to favorite stories. I mean, they're using it like a guidebook to the Alzheimer's journey. And, of course, it's such a long journey, they'll be able to hold on to this Chicken Soup for the Soul book for many, many years because it takes you from diagnosis all the way to end stage and gives you emotional support and great advice all along the journey. So this is the kind of book people will be referring to over a 5, 10, 15-year period.
And this really helps people taking the next step, because they like to think they can do it all, but they have to have that courage to take the next step because they know that's what's best for their loved one.
That is one of the things that I appreciate so much about having the Alzheimer's Association work on this book with me, because I had to take my lead from them. They know what is medically correct. They know what is the right thing to do, and they are very, very supportive of people taking the next step, whether it's taking away the car keys, which is almost the hardest step, even though it's one of the early steps, whether it's bringing in the healthcare aides, even if you call them, I'm hiring you a secretary, whatever it is, whether it's moving them into a memory care facility or another kind of skilled nursing facility. The Alzheimer's Association is very supportive of people making those steps. Nobody should ever feel guilty that they're moving their loved one into a facility where they can be cared for by loving professionals who know what they're doing. And it's absolutely the right thing to do for many people. And we have many stories in the book about fabulous facilities where people have received such wonderful care that their family members have gone back for years afterwards to visit the other residents because they were so appreciative of the wonderful care that their loved one received. So people get a sense of community from this Chicken Soup for the Soul book. They feel that they're not alone. They read everyone else's great tips about the Alzheimer's journey. And the book also is completely inclusive of other kinds of dementia. The Alzheimer's Association supports people with every kind of dementia. There is no discrimination. They're not favoring people with Alzheimer's. All of their services are for everyone because, in fact, You don't always even know what your loved one has. And in fact, all of the different types of dementia pretty much manifest themselves in the same kind of cognitive decline, the same kind of behavior. So what works for one kind of dementia will work for another kind as well.
Do you know what just occurred to me, Amy, is that when we are little babies and we don't know what we're saying, we don't know what we're doing, we're spitting up, we're pooping on everything, but we're cute, and everybody takes care of us, no problem. Well, the folks who take care of the elderly, especially the elderly with dementia, God must have given them some amazing ability to cope, because here you have grown adults who have lived their whole lives who are doing what they did when they were children in some ways. I'm not saying all of them, but they're drooling, but they're not cute physically. You know what I mean? They've got to that point where, you could argue this, you could say, Larry, come on, they're cute. Well, they're not cute. But the stories that you hear, that we've heard so far from the book, if anybody were to ever say to one of those workers, how do you do this? How do you love these people? I think what you've done with this book is you've given us a way to understand why those people are loved by those workers, because you're showing us the human part of something that doesn't look attractive, you know what I mean, or comfortable.
Yeah, the people still exhibit their personalities. They'll still joke. They'll still be interested in the same things. They can still be charming, but the workers, whether the patients are charming or not, they love them. And I do understand that. My daughter is a med student, and she is going into OBGYN, but she did her clerkships this year, which means they rotate through everything. And she really likes working with the old people, too. I mean, I found it very interesting, but she really appreciated them. And I think that you can be in the healthcare industry and really enjoy working with the elderly and being part of the last stages of their lives. Yeah.
Well, that's an angel. That's what I think on heaven. An angel on earth, somebody who,
for sure,
who does what you just described your daughter doing. The book, you guys are awesome. Amy, I've loved this conversation with you. I know you said Amazon is out, but they'll get it in a day, so we'll mention Amazon. And you have a website as well, right?
Yes, so there's two websites people can go to. They can go to chickensoup.com, which is our website, and they can read a little bit about the book. And it's a brand new website. It's in beta. It's very cool. And they also, if they're looking for assistance from the Alzheimer's Association, can go to alz.org. The resources that the association have are it's amazing how many resources they have for people with the disease and for the caregivers.
And people grow up talking about reality shows and things like that. Well, reality always changes every day, and this is something that the caregivers of the Alzheimer's patients have to embrace, is that they have a new reality in their life every single day.
That is true. It's the new normal. And the caregivers in the book talk a lot about how they're living with that new normal in their own lives.
By the way, a real quick note about what we were talking about earlier with the music. Robin and I do music. And having been at an assisted living facility, I used to watch people who would come in to play music, and they would be playing This Old Man, He Played One. They'd be playing My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. And I would look at the members of the community there and say, they don't want this at all. No. So when Robin and I decided to put together a show for assisted living facilities, we put together a collection of songs from the 40s. And Amy, you would not believe the look on their faces with certain songs, not every song, but something like Lily Marley, and I don't know if you know the song, but if there's a man who was in World War II, I don't know, Lily Marlene must have meant something to those men, because they will cry for that song. The women, they don't care. But
right.
There must have been something about Lily Marlene that strikes a chord with them, and other songs with other people as well. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is we've seen firsthand the magic of music. Amy, you're a wonderful guest. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm so glad you enjoyed our book.
And congratulations on the success so soon after it was published. The book, again, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Living with Alzheimer's and Other Dementias. If you know somebody with Alzheimer's, if you work in a facility like we've been talking about, you will love this book. You probably already wrote it down. You probably already went online to order it.
Yeah.
Go to chickensoup.com or alz.com for the Alzheimer's Association.
And all the proceeds do go to the Alzheimer's Association, which is very generous of you.
All the royalties go to the Alzheimer's Association because we love the work that they do.
All right. Well, we love the work you do. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Bye.
we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. President Obama in South Korea, the second stop of his Asia trip, but events in Ukraine continue demanding attention.
If and when we see even greater escalation, perhaps even military incursion by Russia into Ukraine, that we're prepared for the sort of sectoral sanctions that would have even larger consequences.
The president also offering condolences to victims of the ferry disaster.
Families have become increasingly frustrated by the pace of the search and have confronted officials on a nearby island. Also, investigators have revealed life rafts and escape chutes on a sister ship to the sunken ferry were not working properly.
Fox's David Piper. There's frustration also by relatives of the missing Malaysian airliner. Dozens of family members of missing Chinese passengers continuing a sit-in protest outside the Malaysian embassy in Beijing after officials failed to show up for an update. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Ladies, how many pounds have you gained since turning 40? If you're like an average woman, probably 5 or more. How many times have you stood in front of the mirror and thought, I don't like my body, but I don't know what else to do? If this sounds like you, please call the Amberin hotline at 1-800-365-8470. At Amberin, we specialize in breakthrough solutions specifically tailored to women over 40, including hormonal balance, relief from menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats and sleeplessness, and effective weight loss. You see, after 40, the female body changes, so one-size-fits-all solutions may no longer work for you. We understand your unique challenges, and that's what makes us so different. Our solutions were designed specifically for you. So if you're a woman over 40 and you're tired of looking in the mirror and not liking what you see, call the Amberin hotline right now. Call 1-800-365-8470 and start losing pounds. Yes, pounds of extra weight. This exclusive offer is 100% guaranteed, but it won't last forever. So call right now. 1-800-365-8470. That's 1-800-365-8470.
I'm Major George Patterson from the Salvation Army. Please stop by our family store at 120 Northwest 10th Street in Ocala, where on Wednesday you have a 50% off clothing and bric-a-brac. On Friday, 25% off furniture and large appliances. And on Saturday, stop by to our yard sale from 8:45 to 11. Donations can be made by calling 352-732-4469 and we'll pick it up. Funds from the store go toward the services that we provide in Marion County.
The Bridge at Ocala will be holding a charity raffle night on May 15th from 7 until 9 p.m. Proceeds will support Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. It's a fun-filled evening with entertainment, hors d'oeuvres, and beverages, and your participation will be greatly appreciated. Currently, we're seeking donations for the raffle, gift certificates, electronics, gift baskets, spa and beauty services, pretty much anything you would like to donate. Call Lori at 352-873-2036 for more information or pledge a donation. Help us help Habitat for Humanity.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's OcalaForSale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. OcalaForSale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, loss proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
News Talk 1370, WOCA invites you to discover your full business potential. News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults, so use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000, 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
You are listening to The Brain Health Show, hosted by Terry Barr with special guest Mark Underwood. We will be discussing practical ways to improve your memory, and we'll be giving you tips to support your brain. The program you are listening to is a paid advertisement for Prevagen. The statements made in today's program have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome to a special edition of the Brain Health Show, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Terry Barr. Today, we are going to discuss how to achieve optimal memory and have healthy brain function, a sharper mind, and clearer thinking. The medical breakthrough I'm referring to originally comes from those species we call jellyfish that inhabit our oceans. Our special guest today is going to share with us exactly how this gift from the sea holds the key to helping with age-related mild memory problems and so much more. So I'm happy to have Mark Underwood on the show. Mark is a neuroscientist and author of Gift from the Sea. He also has a very personal story as to why he's dedicated his life's work to finding a way to help all of us improve our memories. So Mark, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me today, Terry.
Yes, I know there's been quite a buzz in the scientific community about this jellyfish protein discovery. So can you please explain it in, I guess I'm going to say layman's terms, how this is breaking news, really, and how our listeners might be able to benefit from it?
Well, sure. The discovery we made, Terry, is really basic to how the human brain works. The brain is full of all types of molecules in our cells that work together in a very complicated manner. As we get older, over the course of time, we start to have all these embarrassing things happen to us, and it makes us forgetful. Mm-hmm. We start to lose a certain type of protein throughout the aging process, but we've discovered a similar protein in jellyfish in nature that we've been able to manufacture in a controlled scientific process to supplement the brain and to help fight against age-related memory loss. So this is for people that are interested in improving their memory, becoming less forgetful, having more focus, being more attentive. What we've learned from our research over the many years we've spent in the lab through our clinical trials is that there's an easy way to help get your brain power back by simply take this protein on a daily basis in a supplement we make. It's called Prevagen.
Okay, well, again, I don't want to make light of the fact probably we've, walked in a room, we forget why we're there. But is this the kind of thing you're talking about?
Exactly. You lose memory and the sharpness and clarity you once had to enjoy life. Well, we want to support the health of our brain, and that's exactly what Prevagen does by supplementing a very simple protein.
Mm-hmm. Those things we call senior moments then can actually start in your 40s, maybe your 50s. So it's the protein you're saying that's the problem.
It is. The average age, Terry, is probably around age 40. When this protein is replaced by taking Prevagen, that's when memory improvement can begin.
Yeah. Do you realize it's going on, or is that maybe the problem? Sometimes you don't.
People say, well, I can't talk about being forgetful. I'm too proud to admit that. Well, quite frankly, I haven't really met a whole lot of people who aren't forgetful to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I want to go backwards. How did you go from trying to solve a problem with all of our brains to actually working with jellyfish?
Well, I'll rewind here and connect some of the dots to the best of my ability. Let me tell you the story, Terry.
Yeah, please do.
I was interested in brain chemistry as a college student. This was about 20 years ago. My interest started because of my personal family history. I was studying in the library one afternoon, and I came across this really interesting journal article about a very unique protein in the jellyfish. The story was talking about how it helped their simple nervous system to stay healthy. And I thought, well, wait a second. Our nervous system's a lot like theirs. It might have the potential for our brains to improve because of its unique characteristics and qualities. So many researchers already knew that these type of proteins depleted in the aging process, and that can lead to memory issues. So I took the research from the jellyfish researchers and sort of lined it up with the research from the memory researchers and pulled them together and said, well, why don't we try this? We've completed university studies and laboratory studies. We've done safety studies and clinical trials. It's taken many years for Prevagen to be developed. And over the course of these many years, it was always one step at a time, demonstrating the next quality and the next application of the things we learned from the jellyfish protein to show that they were beneficial for people like you and I.
Sure.
We scientifically applied what we learned over those years and really tried to find them practical applications for people. And very practically, Prevagen helps with the real-world issues we face with age-related memory loss, in a solution that was originally discovered by simply observing nature.
Now, you started working on this in the middle of the 90s, but you've also mentioned the original discovery happened back in the 1960s, and I've read about the Nobel Prize-winning research in 2008.
That's right.
So I'm going to ask you to maybe try to connect some more of those dots for us. How does it work?
Well, the researchers 50 years ago found this glow-in-the-dark jellyfish. That was back in 1962. And this particular protein was part of that luminescence package. It's what made the jellyfish glow in the dark. The researchers dedicated the next 50 years almost of study into figuring out how to make other things glow in the dark and working with this protein and many different science experiments and applications. And in 2008, they won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry for discovering this particular jellyfish protein and all of its applications. Now, our particular idea was to use this protein to help support our brain health. So using a scientific manufacturing process, we now have the same protein that has 50 years of research behind it, but it's now made in a very quality-controlled scientific process. The supplement that we have developed and now have in the marketplace is called Prevagen.
The science part is fascinating. I've always said you can't argue with science. So that's a tough one.
Well, what's great is we've been able to establish Prevagen because of the research and development that we've completed. We've performed clinical trials in humans. We performed university studies at the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. And certainly from the many people that have taken Prevagen over the years, we've gotten thousands of testimonials of just how exactly important Prevagen is.
So someone that might start taking Prevagen, maybe they're experiencing a couple of the things we've been talking about. They can't remember why they're in a room, where their keys are, where their car is. How would this actually work for them?
Well, this helps to support their memory and brain to provide all those connections so they don't lose their checkbook or their car keys or their cell phone. When they go to class, they're able to think and remember what the instructor's teaching them, and they're able to perform well when tested or put to the test. For me, for my family, it's making sure we pick up the kids from soccer at the right time at the right park. Prevagen helps to support the brain so that you're focused on what's going on in life and not as absent-minded.
Yeah, well, how about the feedback? You've been around now for a while. What are people telling you?
Prevagen's making a big impact for people that need to improve their memory, whether related to their attention span or just remembering items on a grocery list. You know, the problem I used to have, Terry, this is before Prevagen, is at the end of the day at work, Sarah, my wife, would give me a call before I came home, and she'd offer a list of things that I should pick up at the grocery store that evening. So it stressed me out every night. I'd have to write down every single thing and every single brand and every single packaging size, and I wanted to get the right stuff. So then later, after I started taking Prevagen, Sarah would call me, same time, same situation, but I wouldn't have to write anything down. But literally, I could just remember the list in my head. It's just one of those small things that made life easier for me because I wasn't stressing about something that I had to focus on. I could just do it again and again. Yeah, I hadn't been able to do that for probably 10 years.
I understand now you brought in a recording of an actual Prevagen user?
Yeah, I'd like to play it for you if I could.
Good.
I initially heard about Prevagen from my neighbor. We happen to have a little card party that we get together occasionally. Some of the memory issues that I had were like, did I take my pill? Couldn't remember if I took my pill. Did I get because I take vitamin pills. Did I get up, have I set my alarm? Did I turn the water off when I started the water to run in the sink? When I turned on the pot to boil water on the stove, do I remember it's there, or do I go off and watch television or a computer? Whether it works on everybody, I don't know, but I had such a positive experience from it that I would urge anybody to at least try it and see if it'll work for you, because it sure helped me.
Okay, Mark, that is a great story. It's real life stuff. I'm sure many of the listeners out there want to know how to get their hands and brains on Prevagen right away. So grab a pen and paper and pay close attention to this important information.
If you're just joining us today, you're listening to investigative journalist Terry Barr interview neuroscientist and author Mark Underwood. If you want to try Prevagen, there's a special toll-free number set up. You can call it right now. So write this number down, 888-947-7147. Prevagen is an easy way to improve your memory and support your brain. The number again, 888-947-7147. And I want to let you know that Mark is also arranging a very special offer available to listeners today. If you call in the next 10 minutes, you're going to qualify to receive 2 free bottles of Prevagen when you buy 4. That's right, buy 4 bottles and get an extra 2 bottles absolutely free. And by mentioning this program, you're also going to get free shipping and processing. This is a fantastic offer. Now again, the number to call, 888-947-7147. And please ask about our senior discount today when you call. Also, for everyone who orders today, you'll get a free copy of the Brain Health Guide. The Brain Health Guide will give you new tips to improve your memory, diet, and exercise. And the Brain Health Guide contains crossword puzzles and other fun games, and has facts and figures with the latest research and discoveries related to brain health. And the Brain Health Guide is free with any Prevagen order today. This offer is not available anywhere else. You'll also get free shipping. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call 888-947-7147. And don't forget to ask about the senior discount. Call 888-947-7147.
Welcome back. And if you are just joining us, I want to let you know you are listening to a special edition of the Brain Health Show. And we're here right now with leading neuroscientist Mark Underwood. He's talking about a breakthrough. It's a protein originally found in jellyfish. He and his team have developed a product called Prevagen, and it helps support your brain, improve learning, word recall, and memory. So now, Mark, you know, Prevagen is something I learned about a couple of years ago. It was prior to it even being available to anyone. I was pretty skeptical. I asked you a lot of questions about it, doing a news story on the supplement, and I believe what I found is everything checked out. The story became something that has now grown into a very real science-based supplement, and now I even have my husband taking it.
Prevagen is now available to anyone who calls today. We've been able to demonstrate its effectiveness in our clinical trials. The results of our largest clinical trial, called the Madison Memory Study, had 218 people. We showed benefits in terms of people's word recall and their information retention and their short-term memory. People were measured down to the millisecond for their responses. We also measured something called executive function, and executive function is a measurement of how we think. Much more than just our memory and how we remember, we measured people's thought processes. We're able to show people making more correct decisions, and what value can you put on that? It's infinite. Mm-hmm. These types of measurements translate into everyday activities. We were able to see people improve their executive function about 20%. So that's quite significant. Imagine getting a 20% raise. It's more than just memory improvement. This is a supporting product for the entire brain.
Yeah, the results are pretty fascinating.
These are the types of things we got, and it was powerful enough to be presented in front of an international audience. I had the chance to personally share the results of the Madison Memory Study trial in Paris, France in the summer of 2011 with the world's leading brain researchers and neuroscientists. Other researchers really had never seen results like ours.
Okay, well, I would guess by now our listeners want to know how to get a hold of Prevagen, so please pay close attention to find out how.
If you want to try Prevagen, there's a special toll-free number you can call right now, 888-947-7147. This is your chance to get the free Brain Health Guide and read every single result from the study Mark and Terry were just talking about. So again, grab a pen and write this number down, 888-947-7147. And if you call in the next 10 minutes, you're going to qualify to receive 2 free bottles of Prevagen. Just buy 4 and you'll get 2 bottles free. That's right, buy 4 and get 2 free by mentioning this program. You'll also get free shipping and processing as well. This is a really great offer. If you want to try Prevagen, I'm going to give you a special toll-free number you can call right now. The number is 888-947-7147. This is a really easy way to improve your memory and support your brain's health. The number again, 888-947-7147. This offer is available exclusively to our radio audience today. If you call now, you'll get free shipping, a free book, and 2 free bottles with the purchase of 4. And you can ask about our senior discount. Call 888-947-7147.
Thank you, and welcome back once again. I think the bottom line is we get frustrated when we walk into a room and think, okay, why am I here? What did I come in here to do? Or when we forget words at the end of our sentences. So, Mark, will Prevagen help with these mild memory problems?
I know that we're putting back into the brain with Prevagen what is actually supporting your brain health. I mean, that's really the core of what's happening here. Some people start out not believing, and all of a sudden they take Prevagen for a month and say, I tried it for a month, you got me. And now I certainly see the benefits. And that's a fantastic feeling for them and for us to see them improve. The benefits are real. You remember the right groceries to bring home. Your words come to you more quickly and more easily. You walk into a room and you remember what you're doing. It's these everyday things that really make the difference, really making the basic things of life easier.
Yeah, pretty substantial. You know, we could all use help with these types of things. I know so many people that have the same problems you're talking about, and it sounds like Prevagen could help.
It helps offer a lot of hope for people that are concerned about what's going to happen to their parents as they grow older, maybe another family member that's got a memory issue, and it's right there and available for them. So if they're lacking the right brain support, it's just a travesty because it's available here in Prevagen. We'd love to see you enjoy your life more and make your life easier. And if you have to care for someone else in your life, there's a tool there in Prevagen that can make that job easier also.
Yeah, and it's safe, and it's why I mentioned my husband is taking it. He's very into health and the idea of protein, but I guess I have to say this isn't as simple as just, let's, have some more meat or eggs or anything. It really is not that kind of protein.
No, it's a specific protein that by its design helps to support the brain's chemistry. So it's completely different than the types of proteins that build muscles. Prevagen is the only supplement that contains this unique protein. It's because it works different than the other supplements that are on the marketplace. It's more effective. It helps to support brain health. It helps to improve your memory. And that's something that no other supplements really can make a rightful claim to do.
Okay, Mark, it all sounds great, but now let's get into some of the nitty-gritty as far as the studies.
Well, one of our first trials we did was just a 30-day trial. We wanted to see the impact of Prevagen in several different everyday functions. So we wanted to measure the ability to remember driving directions, remembering your words, short-term memory. So honestly, we wanted to answer this question, how fast is it going to work? Mm-hmm. I can tell you, Terry, we saw results in that trial within the first 30 days.
Okay, what kind of results did you see in those 30 days?
Well, people were more confident and more self-assured because of their cognitive improvements. They stated they could remember things better. 84% of people reported being able to remember driving directions better in just the first 30 days. Now, that's great for guys like myself who won't even ask for directions in the first place. But it's great to have the confidence that your brain will be there for you in that type of stressful situation.
Sure.
It really gives you the confidence you need. Now, that same study showed the majority of people experienced a benefit in information retention and word recall within the first 30 days. Now, those are attributes that are helpful for remembering where you place your car keys or what items to bring home from the grocery store or what time was my meeting at work. Having a better memory overall helps with much more important things too, like your job. If you're forgetful at work, there could be huge consequences. Certainly, for people that want to be on top of their game, there's no reason that they wouldn't want to have the benefits that Prevagen offers.
Yeah.
Prevagen's completely safe.
Great, win-win then. So how about if someone is just starting to take it? What you're talking about, is that what they can expect?
Well, after the first week or two, they start to feel more focused. They start to feel more confident. They feel like they can find their words again. Now, in the clinical trial, we start to see those benefits really coming to fruition within the first month. I think that's how a lot of people, look at the improvements they're seeing. They can tell us the Prevagen's working. It's sort of hard to put their finger on it. Mm-hmm. But it really doesn't take that long.
Right.
So you need to take your Prevagen on a daily basis. It's one small capsule every day. We recommend people do take it in the morning with a glass of water, and they can take it with or without their breakfast. That's completely up to them.
And again, we want to let listeners know how to get Prevagen, so please listen to the following information and write this down.
If you want to try Prevagen, there's a special toll-free number you need to call, 888-947-7147. And I want to remind you that Mark is also arranging a very special offer only available to listeners today. If you call in the next 10 minutes, you're going to qualify to receive 2 free bottles of Prevagen. So when you buy 4, you'll get 2 bottles free. By mentioning this program, when you buy 4 bottles, you get 2 bottles free. And you'll also get free shipping and processing. So this is a really great offer. Don't forget to ask about our senior discount. Again, that number, 888-947-7147.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking with author and neuroscientist Mark Underwood about a breakthrough formula called Prevagen, and it originally comes from protein found in jellyfish. We're finding out as we age, we're naturally losing more of the protein that helps support our brains. So Mark, who would you recommend take Prevagen?
Well, if you really want complete brain support, I'd recommend Prevagen because it's going to help. With Prevagen, you're going to see improvement.
And absolutely. And again, just one capsule?
One capsule a day, taken in the morning, it's a piece of cake.
Okay. I think one thing people may really worry about is the potential for interactions. As you get older, you do start taking other medications, and it is a question I'm sure many people will have.
You know, it's something that is really remarkable. This protein found in nature has so few interactions because it's just a basic protein. You're really not adding anything that's terribly new to your system. That's why we don't see interactions, we don't see harmful side effects, and in terms of safety, it's been very well tested.
Okay, well, that brings up another good point. Why not take it before your memory starts to change? It sounds like that's what you could be saying.
Right on the money, Terry.
Okay, so we're talking now about memory, focus, and concentration. This is an easy way to be able to support all of it. And ultimately, I mean, you want to support your brain, and it seems like right now, this is the easiest way to do it, right, Mark?
It is the easiest thing you can do to improve your memory, Terry. The brain is the most important part of your body. Your brain needs to be focused. You need to be able to interact with others. You need to be able to rely on your brain for what you need it to do every single day. It's the key to your personality.
All right. Now, we've talked about the science, the studies, the history. What about testimonials? You've been around a little while now, so do you have any good outcomes direct from people?
We do. We hear great results every day. All kinds of people. People in retirement that want to focus on their hobby. People that want to take better care of their families, people that are so busy and stressed that they're always tired. Prevagen really helps to support the brain for all kinds of people that have mild memory problems associated with aging. I think that's great to see people have life become a little easier because Prevagen helps to support their brain function. Some of my favorite stories come from people that have tried Prevagen for themselves and saw such a difference that then they decide to give it to a loved one. For example, there's a woman who called in several years ago about her father, and he lived in Clearwater, Florida, and he loved to go fishing. But he got to a point in life where he was getting lost once in a while. She was really concerned and ordered some Prevagen for him, and within about 6 weeks, she called us back, and she said, guess what? My dad's out fishing again. In his fishing pier, which is off of Tampa Bay, he's now able to drive down there and back as often as he wants, go fishing by himself. When he comes home, now he's got great fishing stories for his grandkids. He enjoys the time with his family again, and her telling me that story literally brought tears to my eyes. To see how much that gives people hope and the potential that Prevagen can work for those families, I hope there's a lot of people out there that will choose the opportunity to try Prevagen and help make their life a little bit better, a little bit easier.
Yeah, and as you've talked, this is personal. Obviously, it's also professional. So can you go back and remind us once more about the benefits of Prevagen?
Sure.
Why did you want to do this?
Well, the main thing for me is having a family history of memory issues. I wanted to understand how the brain functions as we age. You see so many problems out there. It's really the brain that's the core to us having a healthy, fulfilled life. Seeing how simply replacing this one element, this one protein, is able to help support the human brain was something I couldn't turn away from.
Yes, and this has been a fascinating interview, and I want to thank you so much for your time. And I guess as we wrap up, any final thoughts before we close out the show?
Well, the key is understanding that this is a very simple and effective supplement. It's safe, it's something that hundreds of thousands of people are already doing, and the results are backed up in our clinical trials. If you're sort of skeptical, still, I get it. That's okay. I completely understand. That's why we have a money-back guarantee.
Mark Underwood, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, folks, here's the final chance to take advantage of this special offer. If you want to try Prevagen, here is all the information you'll need to get started.
Once again, the number to try Prevagen is 888-947-7147. Prevagen is the first and only formula on the market today that has been clinically shown to support your brain health. And when you call to order, you're going to experience the benefits that we're talking about: a better memory, staying focused, and a better ability to concentrate. All you have to do is call toll-free right now, 888-947-7147. And as we've mentioned, Mark is putting together a special offer only available to our listeners. If you call in the next 10 minutes, you're going to qualify to receive 2 free bottles of Prevagen. So when you buy 4, you'll get 2 bottles free. That's right, buy 4 and get 2 bottles free by calling this number, 888-947-7147. Shipping and processing will also be free. Also, today only, you can receive a free copy of the Brain Health Guide with your order. So again, folks, this is a great offer. Do something good for yourself or someone you love. Do it for your family. Here's a great opportunity. You need to call right now, toll free, 888-947-7147. Again, the number to call, 888-947-7147.
Thanks for tuning in, and join us again next time for another special edition of the Brain Health Show. Make it a healthy day, everyone.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. President Obama in South Korea, the second stop of his Asia trip, but events in Ukraine continue demanding attention.
If and when we see even greater escalation, perhaps even military incursion by Russia into Ukraine, that we're prepared for the sort of sectoral sanctions that would have even larger consequences.
The president also offering condolences to victims of the ferry disaster.
Families have become increasingly frustrated by the pace of the search and have confronted officials on a nearby island. Also, investigators have revealed life rafts and escape chutes on a sister ship to the sunken ferry were not working properly.
Fox's David Piper. There's frustration also by relatives of the missing Malaysian airliner. Dozens of family members of missing Chinese passengers continuing a sit-in protest outside the Malaysian embassy in Beijing after officials failed to show up for an update. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Ladies, how many pounds have you gained since turning 40? If you're like an average woman, probably 5 or more. How many times have you stood in front of the mirror and thought, I don't like my body, but I don't know what else to do? If this sounds like you, please call the Amberin hotline at 1-800-365-8470. At Amberin, we specialize in breakthrough solutions specifically tailored to women over 40, including hormonal balance, relief from menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats and sleeplessness, and effective weight loss. You see, after 40, the female body changes, so one-size-fits-all solutions may no longer work for you. We understand your unique challenges, and that's what makes us so different. Our solutions were designed specifically for you. So if you're a woman over 40 and you're tired of looking in the mirror and not liking what you see, call the Amberin hotline right now. Call 1-800-365-8470 and start losing pounds. Yes, pounds of extra weight. This exclusive offer is 100% guaranteed, but it won't last forever. So call right now. 1-800-365-8470. That's 1-800-365-8470.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
Yes, George?
Guess what I have?
Could it be the free truck used from Devon Self Storage on 200 across from Hobby Lobby?
YOLA!
Yes. Now don't forget to bring it back when you're done to Devon Self Storage.
Yes, Alice. I'll even remember to call them at 873-0777 to make sure they'll remember me.
George, I'm sure they'll remember you.
Thanks, Alice.
Oh, George.
Hi, this is Isaiah. I'd like to introduce you to Phoenix Infinitum LLC, which is a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business right here in Ocala. Phoenix Infinitum is your one-stop tactical outfitter with tactical gear made to exceed military specifications, like backpacks, range gear, canine equipment, armor carriers, and medical supply bags, manufactured right here in Ocala. We also offer concealed weapons and tactical training classes conducted by Force 4 Training. Phoenix Infinitum is located at 851 Northwest 24th Court in the Bryan Industrial Park. Visit us on the web at phxunlimited.us. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. Or just give us a call to see how we can help. 352-351-3535, 352-351-3535. That's 352-351-3535. Phoenix Infinitum, purveyors of awesomeness.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Fredericks Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Fredericks Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Fredericks Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Fredericks Appliance.
Here are today's headlines from The Source. WOCA, the Marion County Sheriff's Office is reporting that a 66-year-old Ocala resident has become the victim of a popular scam. The pitch went something like this, quote, "You are now a secret shopper. Take the enclosed money order, deposit it, and buy money cards," unquote. The scammer provided instructions to email the money card numbers. The Sheriff's Office is warning residents that this is a scam. If you get an email, letter, or phone call from someone saying you have won something, but you have to send money in order to collect, delete, and block the email address immediately. In reference to the email, do not open any attachments from scammers. By the time the Marion County Sheriff's Office got the call, the victim had emailed the money card numbers. Her bank advised that the money order was fraudulent and the funds were already taken from her account. The victim was out $992. If you know a scammer has made contact with you, contact online www.ic3.gov. That is the Internet Crime Complaint Center. The Star Banner is reporting that Phyllis Ham, longtime membership director of the Ocala-Marion County Chamber of Commerce and the driving force behind the city's annual Christmas parade, has died at the age of 76. The report states that Ham died of a heart attack Wednesday night. Ham joined the chamber, the forerunner of the Ocala-Marion County Chamber and Economic Partnership, as a bookkeeper in 1969 and retired as membership director in February of 2006. Ms. Ham was also an important player in the Florida Agriculture Center and Horse Park, the Southeastern Youth Fair, the Chamber Ambassador Program, and in exchanges between Ocala and our sister city of Newbridge, Ireland. The Star Banner article serves as a wonderful tribute to Phyllis Ham, and WOCA The Source extends our condolences to Phyllis Ham's family and friends. The Marion County Sheriff's Office is reporting that an unidentified man, only described as in his 20s, whom was wanted on an arrest warrant from a jurisdiction in Georgia, fatally shot himself in the head yesterday while being pursued by local deputies. The man died at 5:25 p.m. yesterday at Ocala Regional Medical Center, according to the Marion County Sheriff's Office. The man had an outstanding arrest warrant for violation of probation for larceny. The warrant called for extradition within a 200-mile radius, according to the report. The Sheriff's Office received information that he could be south of Ocala at an address in the 7700 block of Southeast 41st Court, and two deputies went there to search him. When they arrived, he ran out and they chased him. Officials say he ran into a shed and, while outside, shot himself in the head with a handgun. A report from the University of Florida states that men and women's diving coach Donnie Crane died yesterday from injuries sustained in a boating accident off of Bokeelia on Pine Island in Lee County. The report indicates that Crane was ejected from his vessel after a head-on collision with an oncoming boat. Both boats turned into each other after one of the vessels came around a curve in Jug Creek off of Pine Island coast. Crane was 61 years old. He is survived by his wife of 36 years, Mindy, as well as 3 adult children, Keith, who is 31, Christopher, who is 30, and Stephanie, who is 26. And Jacksonville Jaguars fans' furor on social media over a slight from the NFL has grabbed the attention of the Washington Post. The National Football League took a shot at the Jags in a summary of Week 10 matchups, including the Jaguars versus the Dallas Cowboys, to be played in London. SBNation.com posted a screenshot of the original message, the last line of which said, quote, "The London Jaguars does have an excellent ring to it," unquote. The Week 10 summary has since been edited, and that line has been removed. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Mostly sunny this afternoon, high 86 to 88. For tonight, mostly clear, low 61 to 68. Mostly sunny, nice for tomorrow, high 86 to 90. And for Sunday, a shower or thunderstorm, high 89 to 91.